Okay, how to get jacked as fuck. This diet supplement has been banned by 87 trainers. Take this one pill and never have to go anywhere ever again. This one food could be killing your whole entire family from the inside out because... Okay, this video is how to stay fit while backpacking Southeast Asia. I recently got back from traveling for 100 days overseas, and I figured I should put together some tips for anyone who, like me, is obsessed with fitness and working out and happens to be traveling for a really long time. Even though this video is primarily about Southeast Asia and what to expect when you're backpacking there and trying to work out, the rules are pretty general so they can pretty much apply to anywhere that you're going, except for probably the sweating rule. I mean, if you're in like Antarctica backpacking, you're not going to be like sweating a lot. Maybe you are, I don't know. Okay, back to what the fuck we're talking about. So I have 10 tips that we're going to talk... Okay, I've got 10 tips that we're going to talk about that will hopefully help you when you're traveling. Tip number 1, set a target for how many times you want to work out per week. For myself, I wanted to work out 3 times per week, which was my goal. After I came home, I realized that I had worked out 2.6 times per week, which wasn't exactly 3, but I was still pretty happy with the amount of times that I got to the gym. When you're setting that goal, make sure that it's something that you're actually going to do. So let's say you work out 5 to 6 times per week at home. Don't say you're going to work out 7 times while you're traveling, obviously, but at the same time, try to make it something that's a little bit hard to achieve. So if you set your goal as, I'm going to work out 0.5 times per week or 1 time per week, that's not really that much to strive for, and I feel like you might just kind of lose interest and sort of get lazy. Tip number 2, which builds off tip number 1, write all of your workouts down. Write down every time you work out, write down what gym you went to, write down what you did. Because what this is going to allow you to do is see if you're actually on track with the goal that you set for yourself. You can see, oh, I'm actually only working out once per week and I wanted to work out twice. I really need to step it up right now. Or you can say, oh, unreal, I'm working out 5 times a week and I really only needed to work out 4 times according to my goal, so I can take 1 day off and I can rest a little bit. Trust me, you are not going to be able to remember all of this stuff 5 weeks after you actually do it, so be sure to write it down right when you're finished working out, or even right as you're at the gym. There are a few times where I neglected to write things down for a couple days and I totally forgot what the hell I did. Writing all this stuff down is also going to be a nice reminder when you get home of all of the fucking dope workouts that you did while you were overseas. Tip number 3, lift heavy whenever you're able to. You're going to be walking around pretty much all day. You're going to be really tired from all the heat. So the last thing you really need to do is go to the gym and do 100 calf raises with a ridiculously light weight. It's not really going to benefit you any, and if you want to maintain all the muscle mass that you've built over the years, you really want to be lifting heavy while you're able to. You want to think about moving as much weight as possible on the few days that you're going to the gym, especially if you're only working out 1 to 3 times a week and your usual routine is something more like 5 to 6 times a week. Tip number 4. Get ready to sweat your fucking ass off. It is so hot everywhere. Not all of the gyms are gonna have air conditioning. And it is honestly unbearable at sometimes. What you're gonna need to do is do a set, go outside, cool down. Do a set, go outside, cool down. Also make sure that you bring a lot of water or you buy water when you're at the gym. You are going to be losing so much water that dehydration is a legitimate concern. One of the nice things about these gyms is that a lot of them let you work out without a shirt. That is honestly the most fun thing in the whole world, is working out without a shirt on. Not every gym is going to let you do that, so just make sure that you either ask somebody at the front desk if it's all good, or check around, and if there are a bunch of other people working out without shirts, then you're good to go. Improvise. Almost every place I went, Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Myanmar, back to Thailand, and then Egypt for a couple days. Almost every place I went had gyms that were pretty close to my hotel I was staying at, but sometimes there isn't going to be, or sometimes you're really not going to feel like going to the gym. I actually didn't go to the gym whatsoever when I was in Myanmar for a week because I felt like absolute shit from food poisoning that I'd had earlier in Indonesia that I just kind of felt like shit with for about a month and a half. So that might happen and you might not feel like squatting and shitting your pants. So if that's the case, be sure that there are some other things that you're able to do. So maybe it's just some push-ups in your hotel room, a few chin-ups if you can find a bar somewhere, or go rent a bike and ride around the city. And also try some new stuff. I went to a Muay Thai camp for a week and got my fucking ass kicked. Not by an actual human being beating me up, but just by the workouts themselves. The workouts were so hard. They're 2 hours long and my shins felt like they were broken pretty much every single day. If you're someone like me who for some reason likes inflicting pain on yourself and making yourself feel uncomfortable, it's a really great way to do that in a new way that you haven't really experienced before. So you might be comfortable with an excruciating bicep pump or chest pump, but you've actually never kicked anything for an hour straight in your whole life. So it's really nice to experience that new kind of pain and discomfort. Tip 6, avoid food poisoning. Jokes, like you're probably not going to be able to if you're traveling for really any substantial length of time. You're probably going to get food poisoning, so just like be ready for when it happens. I pretty much shit my brains out for 48 hours straight and then had decent stomach problems for a month and a half. Like, it was not fun. Also really fucks with your workouts. But just kind of go into this understanding that that is a possibility of occurring. And so just try not to trip out too hard when it does. Tip 7, eat lots of food when you're hungry. When I say food, I primarily mean proteins and fats, because you can eat as much rice as you could ever want in your whole entire life. Deep fried bananas, fruit shakes, but what you really want to stick with is the protein and fats. If you want to maintain any kind of quality weight, that's the stuff that you want to be focusing on. Save the deep fried bananas for a special occasion if you want. With the food poisoning that I had, I looked at a scale one time. I weighed myself during the time I first got food poisoning. I realized that I had lost 28 pounds since when I left Canada. So I weighed 198 when I left. The day I left, I weighed myself 198. And then when I had food poisoning, I was 170. That is ridiculous. I was not happy with that. I mean, I looked kind of like a skeleton, and oh my god, it sucks. So when you do have an appetite, make sure you eat, because you don't want to come home and be a shadow of your former self like I was. However, it is important to note that if you're someone who has difficulty losing weight and you can easily put on weight, that eating everything all the time is not necessarily the best way to go about this, especially if you're drinking all the time. Most people who go backpacking end up gaining 20 pounds. So if you're one of those people, maybe don't eat all the time, but if you're already at a really low body fat percentage, you have a high amount of lean muscle mass, then feel free to eat as much food as you possibly can if you're working out. Tip 8, a little bit of research goes a really long way. So every time before I would get somewhere, to a new place, to a new city, to a new country, I would go on Google and I would find every single gym that was anywhere close to where I might be staying. And so the easiest way to do that is literally just do a Google search, or the way that I prefer to do it would be to go into Google Maps, the app, and search either gym or fitness, and you'll see all of the chambers of belief pop up right before your eyes. It is incredibly magical, and then you can save them to a map so that you know exactly where they are in whatever city or place you're going, and it is wonderful. It's so easy to then figure out how you're going to walk from your place to the gym. It's the absolute best way to do it, in my opinion. And the location of the gym would also generally dictate where I was going to stay in that place, because it's so much easier to actually get to the gym if you know that it's a 2 or 3 minute walk from your hotel versus a 30-minute taxi or tuk-tuk ride. You're so much more likely to actually go to the gym if you know it's a short walk away versus a long car ride or a long walk away. So just make it easy on yourself and find where the gyms are before you get there, and then find some accommodation close to the gym. And also find places that have free passes. Free passes are the fucking best thing in the whole entire world. I worked out 5 times in Manila, Philippines, and I didn't pay a single dollar. The first workout I did in Manila was at Fitness First, which is a big chain. They don't have it in Canada, but I looked it up. It's like a decently big chain. They let me do 1 workout for free. All I had to do was sign a waiver, pretty much saying I wouldn't sue them if I dropped something on my head. Another place I worked out for free was at Level X Fitness in Manila. They gave me a week pass, even though this was so strange. One of the guys who worked there added me on Facebook, so after I filled out the forms to get the week pass for free, he looked up my name on Facebook, added me as a friend, clearly would have seen that I was from Canada and didn't live in the Philippines, and still gave me the week pass anyways, and was really nice every time I saw him. So shout outs to that guy. You rock. Tip 9. Okay. Tip 9. Mentally prepare for all of the unforeseen circumstances that are going to happen to you. You're going to either go up or down in body weight. Your body fat is probably going to go up. And your strength is most likely going to go down. These are somewhat inevitable. I mean, if you are the most committed person in the whole entire world and even more committed than me, then you're going to be totally fine. If you're keeping up with the exact same routine that you are at home, don't even worry about these things. But you probably aren't going to be getting to the gym as often as you'd like. You aren't going to be doing the same thing you would at home, and you're going to be tired all the time from walking around, going to tourist things, going swimming, going snorkeling, scuba diving, whatever you're doing. So just understand before you start traveling that you probably aren't going to maintain the same level of fitness that you had before you left, and just make sure that you personally are okay with that. As long as you understand that going in, you're going to be fine. And finally, tip 10, replace some of the alcohol you're planning to drink with water. So let's pose a scenario. You're backpacking on the other side of the world. You just met a bunch of people last night that you became friends with. You drank until 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. You go to sleep. You wake up. Once you realize where the hell you are, what's the first thing you go do? Let's go to the gym, obviously. Oh wait, it's fucking not. Of course you're not going to go to the gym after you do that. So the easiest way to make sure that you keep up with your fitness is to not drink that much. Almost every time I drank, I felt like a fucking bag of dicks for the next day or two. Just because you're probably going to be so dehydrated, you're also not eating the same. And so anytime you drink alcohol, you're going to feel really shitty, and you're almost guaranteed to not want to work out the next day. So try as much as you can to chill on the alcohol and drink a bunch of water. So to recap what I did to stay fit while I was backpacking, I backpacked for 100 days, and that's including the day that I left Canada and the day that I got back. So in 100 days, I worked out 37 times, which is 2.6 workouts per week, and it only ended up costing around $110 US. And seeing as I worked out at 16 different gyms, paying $110 is really not that much money. So don't think that the cost is what's going to prohibit you from doing it. All it is your willingness to actually get your ass to the gym and setting yourself up for success. And that's what we're trying to do here, is be successful, be fit, and look dope as fuck. Okay, that's it for this video. And as always, keep making those vegan That doesn't sound right. Ah, fuck, I don't know.